So yesterday's class we derived an expression for the number of electrons in the conduction band as Nc into e raised to minus of Ec minus Ef by kBt, and number of holes in the valence band we got it as Nv into e raised to minus of Ef minus Ev divided by kBt. So here Nc is a constant, its value is 2 into 2 pi m star, that is the effective mass of electron, kBt all raised to 3 by 2 divided by hq. It's called the effective density of states. And Nv is only difference is that instead of Me star you will have a whole effective mass, which is the modulus of effective mass of electron in the valence band. Otherwise the constants are similar, so it's called effective density of states in valence band. To be more precise, in the top of the valence band. So this is in conduction band. Now in deriving this equation we have used an approximation. The approximation that we have used is that f of e, which is the probability distribution function, or the Fermi-Dirac probability distribution function, which is written as exactly as 1 by 1 plus e raised to e minus ef by kBt. This we have approximated as e raised to minus of e minus ef by kBt. Our logic was why this approximation is a good approximation is that this quantity is very big when E is away from, or Ef is away from. So E is some, for example, when you are finding out N0, E is some energy level in the conduction band. We are integrating all the energies in the conduction band, and Ef is basically the Fermi energy level, and we assumed that E minus Ef is many times larger than kBt. So what I am saying is that in deriving the expression for N0 and P0 we have used an approximation. That approximation is called as Boltzmann approximation. So now I would like to check what is the maximum or what is the minimum difference between E and Ef where this approximation holds. So this is estimated by saying that if we take this first expression, which is the exact expression, that is 1 by 1 plus e raised to e minus ef by kBt, and the second expression, which is e raised to minus e minus ef by kBt, by taking these two expressions, if the difference that comes is less than 5%, okay, if the difference between the two expressions is less than 5%, then we can accept the Boltzmann expression. So if you insist that criteria, that is so here this is expression 1 and this is expression 2. So if the difference between 1 and 2 is less than 5%, then we can employ Boltzmann approximation. Okay, if the difference is less than 5%. So what do I mean by 5%? Suppose at some particular temperature, if you consider the percentage change, how do we calculate? We have to take the difference between these two expressions, expression 1 and expression 2, and then divide it by the original expression, and then multiply with 100. So the percentage change is given by 1 by 1 plus e raised to e minus ef by kBt minus the second expression, which is e minus ef by kBt, divided by 1 by, which is the original expression, e minus ef by kBt, this into 100. So what we can allow is a maximum of 5% change, 5% change. So if that is the case, then so this you can write it as multiplying with 1 plus e raised to e minus ef by kBt, both numerator and denominator. So you will get that is 1 minus e raised to e minus ef by kBt into 1 plus e raised to e minus ef by kBt. So you will get it like this because the denominator becomes 1, so which is equal to, so now if I look at if I expand it, it will be 1 minus e raised to e minus ef by kBt, and then minus, so this is basically same exponent, one with the minus sign and the other with the plus sign, so it will be like this. So that 1 and minus 1 will cancel, so this one will get cancelled, and what we have is basically minus e raised to minus e minus ef by kBt. Now if you say that this can be maximum 5%, okay, so there is 100, everything you can multiply with 100, okay. Okay, so this can be allowed to be so this percentage change, so it could be minus or plus or minus 5%. So this is e minus ef by kBt into 100. If it is allowed to be 5%, then we can take that means e raised to e minus ef by kBt is equal to 0.05, or we can say taking the logarithm on both sides, we can say e minus ef by kBt is equal to natural logarithm of 0.05. Or you can say E minus EF is equal to KBT into, there is a minus sign also here, okay, E minus EF divided by KBT with a minus sign is equal to natural logarithm of this. So this minus sign I can now absorb inside the logarithm as 1 by 0.05. Now 1 by 0.05 is how much? It is around 20. Right? 1 point. So this is equal to KBT into ln 20. Now a logarithm of 20, that is to the base e, if you take this will be around 3. Or in other words, I can say e raised to 3 is equal to 20. So therefore ln 20 is equal to 3. Okay. So this you can verify. It will come to very good accuracy. You will see that logarithm of 20 is e raised to 3. So that means if the difference between E and EF is at least 3 kT, 3 kBT, so whatever is the temperature, at that particular temperature you have a kBT value. So if therefore if E minus EF is greater than or equal to 3 kBT, Boltzmann approximation is valid. Okay, if this is satisfied at a given temperature, if it is room temperature, 3 kVT means 3 into so at room temperature 3 kBT is 3 into 0.0259 electron volt, which is, so if I evaluate this 0.0259 into 3, so this is around 0.08 electron volt. Okay, so or you can say 78 milli electron volt. 78 milli electron volt. So if E minus EF is larger than 0.078 electron volt or 78 milli electron volt, then our Boltzmann approximation is a valid approximation. Under that approximation, we have derived the value of N0 and P0, and we got it as this. Now, normally this approximation is satisfactory, or it is satisfied, and therefore we can accept our formula in most of the cases. But there are cases where this formula may not be suitable to be applied, and in that case we need to do the integration without the approximation. Okay, so let me also say what. So for example, if we are doping, so we were looking at extrinsic semiconductor in the last class. Extrinsic semiconductors, they are of two types. They could be N type or they could be P type. Okay, so where we are replacing the silicon atom in the crystal with donor impurity or acceptor impurity. Okay, if you replace it with the donor impurity, you create level just beneath the conduction band, so that from there electron can go easily to the conduction band. Okay, the difference between the donor level and the bottom of the conduction band, we have seen it is of the order of 0.01 electron volt to 0.05 electron volt. So the donor level, donor impurity level is around 0.01 electron volt to, the exact detail will depend upon the material, either it is silicon or whether the impurity is boron or aluminum, etc. So that will decide the exact. So at donor impurity level is around 0.01 electron volt to 0.05 electron volt below the bottom of the conduction band, which we label as EC. So below EC it is around this much amount beneath. Okay, so that is the location. And similarly the acceptor impurity level also. So this is donor impurity, the acceptor impurity level is around, okay, again same kind of numbers, above, but in this case above the top of the valence band, which we label as EV. Okay, EV is what we designate with okay, the top of the valence band is designated with the label EV. Okay, so that changes the distribution of electrons and holes from the intrinsic distribution. So earlier we found out the expression for intrinsic carrier concentration. We assumed that number of electrons and number of holes are going to be same, but which will no longer be same once we dope it with the donor impurity or acceptor impurity. Additional levels are created, and those levels will make changes in the concentration of N0 and P0. So, and we have already seen that N0 increases in the case of donor impurity and P0 decreases. Okay, but assuming the validity of Boltzmann this approximation, the product, so the N0 P0 product, okay, let me write like that, the N0 P0 product in extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so first of all let me take N0. N0 is our NC into e raised to minus of EC minus EF by kBT. So now I am going to a little bit modify this expression, and what I am going to do is I am going to introduce EC minus EFI, okay, and then plus EFI. I am adding and subtracting EFI. What is EFI? EFI is the intrinsic Fermi level, Fermi energy level. So I am just adding and subtracting this. Okay. So this becomes NC into e raised to minus EC minus EFI into e raised to EF minus EFI. Okay, there is KBT here also, KBT here also. Now this, if you look at the first term, if you combine NC into e raised to EC minus EFI is basically defined as NI, which we earlier found, because in the original expression, if it is an intrinsic material, a Fermi level will be called EFI. So if you replace EF with EFI, so the concentration of electron is called the intrinsic concentration. So I am substituting that into e raised to EF minus EFI by KBT. Again, I am assuming Boltzmann approximation is valid, which is a good approximation if the difference between Fermi energy level and the bottom of the conduction band are away by a factor of 3 kBt. So under that assumption, I am writing like this. So this is an alternate way of writing your the concentration of electrons in the conduction band. So that is, if you look at, if you try to understand what this equation says, the concentration of, that is the concentration of electrons in conduction band increases from Ni when EF goes above EFI. So if EF is equal to EFI, that is intrinsic material, then you will get back N0 is equal to Ni. But if EF is going above EFI, if it is shifting above EFI, so EF is basically a imaginary energy level. It is not a real energy level where electron can sit. It is a fictitious conceptual energy level where we say that the Fermi-Dirac distribution probability is equal to half. So that's a imaginary thing. So that energy level, for as you add impurity, what is happening is that it is shifting upward, so that N0 can become high. So the way N0 can become larger than Ni is by changing the Fermi level above the intrinsic level. Same thing I can talk about with respect to holes also. So P0, if I take that was Nb into e raised to minus EF minus EV by KBT. Again, I am adding and subtracting the intrinsic Fermi level. So EF, I say minus EFI and then plus EFI, then minus EV. Okay, so I can now break it into two parts. One part is NV into, I'll take the second part first, that is e raised to minus of EFI minus EV by KBT into the first term, that is EF minus, or let me write in the other way. I'll absorb the minus sign and write it as EFI minus EF. Okay, I will prefer to write like this. Now again, if you club these two, that is NV into e raised to EFI minus EV. So this is basically the expression for PI into e raised to EFI minus EF by KBT. Okay, so this is you can say equation number 1, equation number 2. Okay, so these are alternate equation to the initial equation that I gave for P0 and N0. So now we have for P0 and N0 two equations. So this equation says that the number of holes in the valence band are going to increase above Pi if this quantity is larger than 1. That is when EFI is above EF, or in other words, when EF, that is the Fermi level, goes down, then exponentially the concentration of holes increases. Okay, so let me just again write both equations. So thus we have two expressions. We have two expressions each for N0 and P0. First one is N0 is equal to NV, that I have written, or NC into e raised to minus of E minus EC minus EF by KBT. And then just now I found out that it can also be written as Ni into e raised to some positive quantity, that is EF minus EFI KBT. So these are two alternate way of writing. And similarly P0, I can write it as NV. This is yesterday's formula that we derived, into minus of EF minus EV by KBT. I can also write it as Ni into, so Ni and Pi are same, so I am using Ni into e raised to EFI minus EF. Okay, so if you look at these formulas, so these are two alternate formulas. One is with respect to the effective density of states, and the other is with respect to intrinsic carrier concentration. For an intrinsic material, what is the carrier concentration? That is going to change if EF is going to go above EFI. You can see now that N0 is going to be, so from these two equations it is clear that if EF is above EFI, what will happen? Then we have N0, then we have N0 going to be greater than P0. Why? Because N0 will increase above, it will be Ni into e raised to EF minus E. This is going to be a number which is going to be much larger than 1. So N0 will increase, whereas this is going to be lesser than 1 because EF is above EFI. So EFI minus EF is going to be negative. So this is going to be a quantity less than 1. So P0 will reduce. Alternatively, if you say if EF is below EFI, then P0 is going to be larger than N0. So the first one is basically the N-type semiconductor. For second type, that is P-type semiconductor. So we are saying that for N-type semiconductor, the converse is that for N-type semiconductors, EF will be above EFI, and for P-type semiconductor, EF will be below EFI. Okay, so that is how with respect to the EF location we can say whether it is N-type or P-type. Now again, if I take a product of this, therefore N0 into P0 is equal to, I am using the second expression, that is Ni into EF minus EFI by KBT into Ni into e raised to EFI minus EF kBt. If you look at the exponent, you see one is the negative of the other. So what does that mean? It means that it is going to be Ni square. And this is a very important relationship. Again, this product, that is what we have started to look at. So the N0 P0 product of extrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor we have already said about it, but for extrinsic semiconductor also this product is going to be equal to Ni square. Okay, this that is even after doping with either donor impurity or acceptor impurity, the product of electrons and holes numbers or the concentration of electrons and holes that will be still the same as before doping. Okay, before doping it is basically Ni into Pi, which is Ni square, but what is more surprising is that even after doping, though N0 and P0 are not same, still their product is going to be Ni square, which is so that means the product doesn't change with the doping. Okay, whether you dope it with N-type material or P-type impurities, the product doesn't change. So this is called law of mass action. This is also referred to as law of mass action. So we have just proved, so under the Boltzmann approximation we have just proved that N0 into P0 is equal to Ni square. And this equation is going to be very important, especially we use this to evaluate the concentration of minority carrier. This is very useful in evaluating the concentration of minority carriers. So in N-type the minority carrier is holes, so the concentration of holes are evaluated using this expression. Okay. Now okay, so if okay, so concentration of minority carrier you can know, for example in okay, for example the concentration of holes P0 in N-type semiconductor we say is going to be equal to Ni square by N0. Similarly, the value of N0, which is minority carrier in P-type semiconductor, we say it is Ni square by P0. So which means that I need to know this N0 and P0, that is the majority carriers. These are majority carrier concentration. So now we are going to evaluate how we can evaluate the majority carrier concentration. So minority carrier concentration can be found out from this relationship, but what about the majority carrier concentration? Only if you know the majority carrier concentration we can evaluate the minority carrier concentration using this law of mass action. But how can we evaluate the majority carrier concentration? So to evaluate majority carrier concentration, what we need to do is we need to look at a few things. Number one, we need to look at how the occupation of the donor states, donor impurity states and acceptor impurity states are happening. Okay, so occupation of donor and acceptor impurity states. So occupation of donor and acceptor impurity states. How does that happen? Now, occupation of the normal states in the crystal, that is the band structure, or the states which are given by the band structure. So that is according to the Fermi-Dirac distribution. Whereas the occupation of the donor and the acceptor impurity, if you really look at, so there is energy band diagram that I have drawn yesterday. So we have something called the conduction band, and then we have something called the valence band. So this is energy band diagram. So, and then I say like when I add the donor impurity, I am introducing some state here just below, and it is very near to the bottom of the conduction band, which I call this as EC. This top is what I call as EV, and this difference is what I say 0.01 electron volt to 0.05 electron volt. It's very near. So maybe if I accurately draw it, it will not be even shown this much difference. It is very near. Okay, very close. Takes only very little energy to. The reason why I am showing it as dotted, that's because these states are not interacting. They are impurity atoms are far apart in the crystal. Okay, and that is true in most of the cases. Only for heavy doping. Heavy doping means something like 10 raised to 18 atoms per centimeter cube or above, 10 raised to 19 centimeter cube per centimeter cube. In that case, these levels will interact and they will overlap with, they will themselves interact and form a band on the top of the band due to the silicon crystal. So, and then the newly formed band will merge with the conduction band. Okay, so there is a particular name for such semiconductor in which the doping concentration is very high, and the name is called degenerate semiconductor. Okay, so most of the case that we are considering where that doesn't happen, it is called non-degenerate semiconductor. So okay, so these are some names. We can just leave those details and consider the cases where the concentration of doping is not very high, so therefore they are discrete states far apart from in the position space, and they are just beneath the bottom of the conduction band EC by this much amount. So then what happens, what I said is that this electron, if they get some energy, they can move to the conduction band very easily. So we would like to know how many of them have moved into, and how many of these donor impurity states are occupied. So this is the donor impurity. These states are called donor impurity states. And same thing we can talk about for acceptor impurity states also. It will create just above the valence band. Okay, so donor impurity states has atoms. Okay, atoms are there on these states. Electrons are there in these states. It is occupied, but then due to temperature, this can go to the conduction band, and many of them can fall into the valence band and fill up the holes also. So there are some holes here. These holes can be filled with the electrons falling from these states. Okay, they can relax and go here, and these can go up also. So remaining, some will be remaining in the states. Some are going to the conduction band, some are coming to the valence band, some are remaining in the donor state. So these are the three ways in which these electrons can move. So our question is that occupation of these donor impurity states, how does that happen? The normal energy band states, due to the crystal, okay, the band structure, the states in the band structure, so they are occupied according to Fermi-Dirac function. Now, can we apply Fermi-Dirac function to talk about the occupancy of these donor states? The answer is that yes, but there is a slight difference in the formula for so the formula for occupancy of the donor impurity states, we cannot directly use f of e. Okay, so f of e was what? 1 by 1 plus e raised to e minus ef by kt, and this formula was derived with Pauli's exclusion principle. It was derived with indistinguishability of the particle, and even by taking into account of the spin states. Okay, so this take into account of the spin state. So each state in the conduction band can be filled with either an upspin or a downspin. Okay, but the problem with the donor impurity state is like we are adding, say, phosphorus atom or arsenic atom, so it has one extra electron in it, which is loosely so I mean, that's all. I mean, that one electron, if it moves out, then there is a vacancy there. So you can't put into that state you can't put two electrons. Once this electron moves away from the donor atom to either to the conduction band or to the valence band, into that vacancy you can only put one electron. You cannot put that state with or you can't say that states can be filled with one upspin electron and one downspin electron. Okay, so these states are special. It is different from the other states in the band structure. The difference is this: in the band structure, every K state can be filled with either an upspin or a downspin. Every K state. So we had a band structure like this, right? We learned like this. So in this band structure, this was our K direction and this is our E, and then what we say is that all this are the K states. They are very, very closely spaced, and each of these states you can put either a upspin or a downspin, satisfying the Pauli's exclusion principle, because upspin gives you one state, downspin give you another state. So this is the way we think about the states in the band structure. But these donor states, you can only put one electron, because once you put one electron, it could be upspin or downspin, you can't put any more electron there. Okay, so there is no vacancy for two electron to be put. That will actually create charge, to violate charge neutrality, because that is because of the for impurity atom there are 5 electrons, so the 5th electron is what is giving rise to this. You can't put a 6th electron there. So these are some difference. So in order to take into account of that difference, we need to modify this equation slightly, and that will give you a formula which is the occupancy of the donor states. So occupancy of the donor states, so I will directly write the occupancy of donor states. So this is given by the density of states is given by the doping concentration, Nd is the doping concentration, into f of E. Instead of f of E, what we have is 1 by 1 plus 1 by 2. Okay, this is the additional thing, into e raised to the energy. This energy level is also called Ed. So Ed minus Ef by kVt. Okay, so this one is similar to what we did earlier. N of E is equal to D of E into F of E. That's what we use it for deriving the concentration of N0 and P0. I said this is equal to say dc of E. This is how we fill up. So this is density of states, and this is the probability distribution function, and then density of states into this, and f of E is substituted by this function. So similarly, if you look at the filling up of the donor states, the number of states which are filled is equal to the total density, which is given by the doping concentration. So this is the doping concentration multiplied by some probability function, and in that probability function there is an extra half here. So that is the only difference, and that difference comes from the argument which I said. Since we have not seen the derivation of the Fermi-Dirac distribution, we will not also go into the derivation of this particular expression. So this particular expression is giving you the probability of filling up the donor states, okay, and it comes with a half as an extra factor to this exponential term. And why half? Because it has only half of the states in comparison with the states in the band structure. Okay, you can only put one electron in those states. You cannot put a 2 electron with upspin and downspin. So that is how that is what give rise to this half. Okay, so ND gives the number of states that are going to be filled in the donor energy level. There are many states available, one from each of the impurity atom. Out of that, how many impurity atom is going to be filled? So that fraction of states which are going to be filled, we need to find out, or you can say the relative number of electrons in the donor state. That means donor states are getting filled up, but how many of those states are filled up? Okay, so the relative number of electrons in the donor states compared with the total number of electrons. So when I say total number of electrons, the electrons could be either in the donor states. So if you come back to this diagram, energy or band diagram, see, electrons could be either here or in the conduction band. So I would like to know, out of the total number of electrons, either in the donor level or in the conduction band, how many of them are in the donor level. So that is what I mean, occupation of the impurity states. So if I want to find this out, so I need to basically consider again ND. So ND, as I told earlier, it is the impurity concentration that we are adding, multiplying with the 1 by 1 plus half e raised to E minus E, means here it is ED minus EF. Okay, so EF is basically the n-type impurity or n-type material EF, then divided by kBT. So I am assuming EF is above EFI. Okay, for n-type, EF is above EFI because it is n-type that I told you earlier. So this is the number in the donor impurity level. Now there are some electrons in the okay, so I can again do the Boltzmann approximation and write this as I can neglect this one with respect to the second term. Why? Because again I will assume that my ED energy level is greater than, or I can say ED minus EF. ED minus EF is greater than 3 kBT. Then I can do Boltzmann approximation. This is also a valid assumption. Why? Because ED is a level very close to the bottom of conduction band, and EF is if EF is sufficiently below the conduction band, then this approximation, this is all that requires 3 kBT, and so this can be also easily achieved for a low level doping. Not if the doping concentration is very heavy, then of course this will violate, but we are assuming that doping concentration is not to that extent. So we can write this as 2, if I take this term to the numerator, into e raised to minus Ed minus Ef by kBT. So that is our Nd. Okay, and we know N0 we know that it is basically Ni. We can use this expression, Ni into or the other expression we will take Nc into e raised to minus of Ec minus Ef by kBT. Okay, so there are two expressions for N0. I am taking again the first expression. So I know Nd. This is the one equation. This is another equation. So equation A and equation B. So from this I will calculate the fraction. So the fraction I am interested is how much is occupied in the donor level divided by the total. So this is what I am interested in. So let's look at how much is this value that comes to be. So that is 2 Nd into e raised to minus Ed minus Ef by kBT divided by again 2 Nd into e raised to Ed minus Ef plus N0, that is Nc into e raised to minus Ec Ef by kBT. So this is the fraction that I am interested in. How much of the donor level is occupied? Is it very much occupied at room temperature? It will also depend on temperature, because T will decide your Nc and this exponent also. Now how to simplify this? Let us divide this with whatever is the term in the numerator. So that will make it 1 by then 1 plus, when you divide this will be Nc by 2 Nd, and if you look at Ef will cancel away, Ef is going to cancel away, then what we are going to get is e raised to minus Ec minus Ed by kBT. So this is the fractional occupation of the donor level with respect to the total level. So this is the formula. Now let's take an example just to have a practical understanding about how much is this value. So let T is equal to room temperature, okay, and the doping concentration that we are putting in is around 10 raised to 16 per centimeter cube, okay, and then T is 300 Kelvin, doping concentration is, and then we need Nc. Nc is for silicon, it is the effective density of states of the conduction band is 2.8 into 10 raised to 19 per centimeter cube. So we have all the quantity that we require. So therefore Nd divided by Nd plus N0 is going to be equal to 1 by 1 plus Nc. So that is 2.8 into 10 raised to 19 divided by 2 into 10 raised to 16. You see that this is around 1000 into exponential. It's a negative one. EC is going to be greater than ED, and to be more exact, I should give that also. EC minus ED for a particular atom, that is phosphorus. So this is for phosphorus in silicon. Okay, this is going to be equal to 0.045 electron volt. I told you it is from 0.01 to 0.05 electron volt. So if it is phosphorus in silicon, it is 0.045 by kBt. kBt will okay, so by kBt, so kBt will be 0.0259. So this is what we need to evaluate, and this will come as 0. So as you can see that it is e raised to minus 2, okay, around e raised to minus 2. So e square, so that will be something like maybe something like 6 or 7, around that, but it is e raised to minus so it is going to be a quantity that is going to be smaller than 1. So this is already 1000, and so 1000 will be divided by 1 by 7 roughly, but it is reasonably larger. It is like something like 150 or something, it will come around. So 1 divided by 150, around that it will come, and that will be obtained as. So this is equal to 0.41 percentage, which is very, very small. That means the occupancy of the donor level is very, very small, fractionally very, very negligible. Out of the total electron, most of them are in so if you look at this number, there is out of say 1000 electrons, total electrons, only 4 are in donor level. Okay, only 4 of them are in donor impurity level. And all the remaining, that is 996 electrons out of the 1000 at room temperature are in conduction band. Okay, so that is a very important insight one should have, that at room temperature. So this calculation is for room temperature, but if you assume a much lower temperature, then this exponential can be very, very small, and that can challenge the 1000 here. When you multiply that exponential with 1000, it can become very, very small, and then this percentage can be increased. Okay, so this is at room temperature, and even if it like a very cold temperature of a winter, still this factor is going to be very, very small. So what that means is that we can safely assume that all the electrons are going into the conduction band, and we don't make much error in saying that that is the total number of electrons in the donor impurity level is very negligible, or you can say that this is almost a complete ionization. This is almost a complete ionization at room temperature. That means every donor atom that you have substituted, no electron is actually staying there with that donor atom. Temperature. Okay, No electron is actually staying with the donor atom, they have gone to the conduction band. Alright, so